So let's begin today's podcast with trying to understand what 10 and 11-year-olds might be using their phones or laptops for. If you had to learn a new football tactic, can you tell me which app on your phone or laptop you might use?
YouTube,
YouTube.
any day.
If you had to learn a new art form, like say origami or starting a new watercolor project, I'm not sure if you guys like art, but what if you did have to, which app would you use?
YouTube.
If you wanted to watch a certain movie, I don't know, do you ever read the reviews of a movie before you go to watch it?
Not that much.
Yeah, I do actually. Me, I either do it on Rotten Tomatoes or I do it on ChatGPT. I'll be completely honest right here.
Okay. Have you ever used your laptop or phone to support you for any schoolwork or homework?
Sometimes, so like my teacher will give some Tamil homework, so where she'll tell you have to write some essay in Tamil, and I won't understand like what to write for like one of you two words, so I'll just translate it in Google Translate. And like for like school exam preparations, I use Excel for like arranging all my subjects and what all lessons are there.
So like Rohan, whenever I have my Tamil homework, I'm usually using Google Translate because sometimes I just can't get the words out. Also, when I have a school project and Google's not providing me with enough information, I immediately go to ChatGPT. It helps me a lot.
But your first port of call is Google.
Yeah, I first check in Google if it has it, because Google is always 100% correct, though it might not always be like what you're asking. But the thing with ChatGPT is it has a chance of being incorrect.
Wow. So how did you figure out that Google is mostly 100% correct, but ChatGPT may not be?
Because if you look at how ChatGPT is made, its data comes if there's 3 or more references for something. If ChatGPT it's fed off the wrong information, then it would be like an answer that's not actually correct. But the thing with Google is it shows you everyone's opinions.
So you can choose whose opinion you can trust and whose you don't want to.
Yeah, but for ChatGPT, it chooses for you.
Okay, so for some of our listeners who probably are listening to this show for the first time, do you want to introduce yourself and tell them how old the two of you are?
So I am Vidyut and I'm 11 years old. I'm currently residing in Chennai, India.
Hello, I'm Rohan. I am 12 years old. I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, and I study in Chennai Vidyut.
Welcome to the show. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sangeeta, the host of What's New Today, a kids and family podcast channel. And just before we began this show, Vidyut said that he'd use ChatGPT to generate a poem to introduce What's New Today, this podcast channel, is about. Vidyut, do you want to read aloud what ChatGPT gave out?
Sure. So the poem goes, a podcast for families to share, Sangeeta's voice will fill the air. Kids will giggle, parents will grin as they listen in and tune in. With stories that are silly and fun, this podcast is a home run.
Wow, lovely. 3 cheers to ChatGPT because it's spoken such nice and polite words about what we stand for. And I definitely hope that our listeners are left grinning. So, Rohan, do you want to tell us what is ChatGPT to you? What does it mean?
So ChatGPT is a type of generative AI, and generative AI is a type of AI which can produce high quality text, images, and audio in a matter of seconds.
Tell me what it means to you. I know this is like a nice theoretical definition. What does it mean to you?
For me, ChatGPT is just an AI which can answer your queries and can create things which you ask it to, like make an essay for me on a particular topic, or create a song, or create a poem like Vidyut did.
Vidyut, to you, what does ChatGPT mean in 2 sentences?
Oh man. So to me, ChatGPT is basically a way for people to use technology in a in a way where they're not scared like, oh no, this is going to take over the future, oh no, this is going to take over our lives. It's more like a thing that's, rather than taking over humans, it's going, rather than replacing people, it's most likely going to improve human abilities and improve productivity. That's what I think of it.
Wow.
On that very positive note, I have a question for both of you.
Mm.
If I have used ChatGPT, right, and if I put in a query and I say, can you describe the leaf of a plant to me in 1 sentence? And ChatGPT gives me an answer. Right after that, if I type, can you describe the leaf of a plant to me in 1 sentence? Do you think ChatGPT will give me the exact same answer as it did before or not?
No, it won't.
Whereas if I were to go on Google and if I were to search for describe the leaf of a plant to me, will Google throw up the same set of links to me both times if I did it twice?
If you did Google twice, it would give the same link. ChatGPT will always have it different because it's like kind of wanting its users to understand it.
So now we've established how Google and ChatGPT work very differently. Why do you think ChatGPT generates a different answer each time?
Because the first time you asked, it gave you an answer. So if you ask it to regenerate, so it probably knows that you didn't get it, so it'll keep on giving you a different answer until you understand what it's saying, just like Vidyut said.
I know y'all are 10 and 11-year-olds, and for you, probably schoolwork and homework dominates your use of ChatGPT at the moment. So, for people who've grown up, what kind of jobs will ChatGPT help them do?
I actually think teachers, this may not be a popular opinion on people. Teachers, when they want to teach the class a particular lesson, there is like so much. They can ask ChatGPT, can you summarize all of this so that I can to teach someone?
Like for example, even in Khan Academy, I was watching a TED Ed about the CEO, and he said Khan Academy is actually using GPT-4 to help the students in math.
I found that the way he has adapted the use of ChatGPT 4 is if you ask ChatGPT, solve this math problem for me, 3 plus 4 is equal to what? So the Khan Academy's version of ChatGPT 4 will not give you the answer. It will ask you, what do you think is the answer? And then let's say you give the answer as 8. Then it will then ask you, okay, can you tell me how you arrived at 8? And then you have to explain to it. I kept say 3 in my mind and 4 in my fingers, and I counted, and then it says, do you want to try again? And then you try again, and then you get 7. And then you say, oops, I think I made a mistake when I was counting the numbers on my fingers. And then you give the answer as 7. So the fundamental difference between how ChatGPT 4 is being used by Khan Academy and how you and I use ChatGPT 3, which is what is available to us, is we get answers, but they don't give you the answer. They guide you and they help you figure out what the answer should be.
Yeah, and if students are like, pretend you're my father and then saying, help me, this will say, I'm not your father, so I can't help you. Sorry, you're not allowed to cheat.
I'm pretty sure even your father will say the same thing. So even if you did,
Father sometimes doesn't say that. That's the thing.
Especially if it is your Tamil homework.
Definitely.
All right, great. I really like how Rohan thought about teachers using ChatGPT and how Vidyut, you thought about how even children can use a modified version of ChatGPT the way Khan Academy is talking about, because this is not what usually comes to the minds of a lot of people. I'd like to hear more about what other jobs the two of you think ChatGPT might be used for?
So then it'll be, I think, programmers, because in a demo session, you could see if you just draw what you want your website to look like and you just post it and you like take a photo and say, program this for me, it'll program that full web page for you. I also think GPT-4 will help graphic designers, because since GPT-4 is kind of like a mixture of DALI 2 and ChatGPT, you could take the Mona Lisa and click on the edit post it and click on the edit button and then erase its hair and then post that and say add a mohawk, and it'll add a mohawk.
Rohan, anything comes to your mind?
Maybe journalists. So a journalist, they travel and they write about a certain thing. So sometimes they may not know the correct words to use, and they may only be able to write it in a short form. So they can ask ChatGPT to make it longer for them. So they can give the topic and a little bit of what they have written, and they can say, write, expand this for me for like 1,000 words.
Oh, very interesting. With that, we come to the last part of this podcast, which is the quiz time. So, usually in the quiz time, I ask 3 questions based on what we've spoken so far, and the two of you can take turns at answering these questions. But I'm just also offering you the chance. Does either one of you want to ask me questions based on what we've just discussed?
So can we have 4 questions?
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so you ask me one, you ask Rohan one, Rohan asks you one, I ask you one.
Question 1. This is for Vidyut. How is GPT-3 different from GPT-4?
Okay, so GPT 3 and GPT 3.5 are text generation AIs, which means it can only generate text. But GPT 4 is text and image generation AI, so it can generate text, images, and videos.
Question for Rohan. Question 2. Explain in your own words how Googling for something is different from what ChatGPT will give you.
So when you ask ChatGPT something, it gets a certain answer from a web source. And for Google, so when you search something on Google, it shows you, it already gives you all the websites which have different answers. But ChatGPT, so when you ask it a question, it gives you one answer, then it gives you another one. Whereas Google, you can choose whichever website you want to look into and do your research. Shall I ask you first?
Yeah, Rohan,
Yeah.
yes, go ahead.
How and in what ways do you use ChatGPT?
Oh, me. I use ChatGPT when I'm trying to understand a concept, and let's say a very difficult science concept. Usually, I use ChatGPT to help me understand it in simpler forms.
What jobs will ChatGPT help?
Oh, I definitely think it'll help journalists, like what Rohan said. I do think it will help a lot of coders and developers, like what Vidyut said. Or when I came in prepared to record this podcast about ChatGPT and words like generative AI, I thought it was going to be pretty easy and simple talking to 11 and a 12-year-old. But it looks like the two of you have done a lot of research, or maybe just a lot of kids out there are like you who do know about these topics really, really well. I hope our listeners also found something interesting to take away from today's discussion. So, Vidyut and Rohan, how was your experience? Do you think your friends would like to hear about something like ChatGPT? Is that something that interests them?
Yeah, I have many friends that will, because like most of my friends are very interested in like coding and programming and all that stuff. So they will be very interested in a topic about ChatGPT.
Yeah. So a lot of, like Rohan said, actually a lot of my friends do programming. So I'm pretty sure it'll really interest them, and it'll spark some creativity, because it'll be like, this is out here. I'm gonna make something cooler.
Whoa. All right. On that super creative note, thank you both once again. It was a lot of fun chatting with the two of you. And that's it for this episode. New episodes drop on Monday and Friday on What's New Today.
Thanks for listening.